If you're a health of a life coach who wants to do less marketing on social media, then today I'm going to share a full sample social media free content marketing workflow that you can use in your own coaching business. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses, and live the best lives while they do it. And today on the show, I'm sharing a full sample content marketing workflow that you can take and implement in your own coaching business that does not involve social media. We will talk a little bit about how you can use social media with this strategy, but what I'm going to tell you and explain is a full process that you can take and implement in your business if you want to market without any kind of social media whatsoever. I'm going to take you through it all step by step, but if you want to get this so that you've got it to keep, go and download the 4-hour content marketing workflow workbook. There's a link for that in the description. Go and grab that and you will get the entire workflow that you can take away and keep and use to refer back to when you're implementing this in your own business. This content marketing workflow is going to be based around YouTube, podcasting, and your blog, and a little bit of Pinterest. We're going to talk about other options when we get towards the end. This is basically exactly what I do every single week when I create these episodes of the show. So I want to walk you through what this looks like and the different ways that you could implement this in your own business, and also a little bit about why this works so well for me in my business. So step one is we're going to plan our content. So when I sit down and plan the things I'm going to talk about in my content marketing, I am sitting down and thinking about, what do I just want to talk about? What feels good to talk about? What am I excited to talk about? I'm also trying to think a little bit strategically, and this is where you can start to think about SEO, search engine optimization. This is not just for the search engine element of your blog, but also YouTube, also potentially Pinterest, depending on how much you want to utilize that at the end of this process, and potentially also a little bit of podcasting, although I'm no expert in SEO side of things with podcasting. So you might want to think a little bit about what content you're creating and the kind of keywords and the kind of things that you want to talk about that people will be searching for. And a good, really simple way to think about this is, what are your people searching for on YouTube and Google when they're up at midnight and they're thinking about a problem that they have? What kind of things are they going to be putting into Google? Can you answer that question? Can you respond to that query? Using that as a basis can be really, really helpful. I also like to think about 3 key things when I'm planning out content, and that is attraction content, connection content, and sales content. These 3 specific areas of content creation will make sure that you are showing people that you know your stuff and actually attracting people so that they find you, and that's your attraction content. So this is often how-to style content. This is, those answering questions style content where people are likely to find you through search. Then connection content is where you are sharing content that helps people get to know you a bit better, where you are communicating something about your unique style of coaching, the way that you do it, what makes you tick, why people should work with you. It's all of that stuff that is going to make them connect with you as an individual. And then sales content is the kind of content that you create that helps people consider whether or not they want to work with you in some way or purchase one of your programs. So thinking about those 3 different types of content can be useful. However, if you are just getting started, try not to worry too much about this. I always say the best thing to do when you are getting started is to just get started. Just start to create content. Don't overthink it too much. You can layer in strategy as you go. Once you have your content ideas, you might want to put them into some kind of content calendar so that you know when different pieces of content are going to be published and you're going to share them. It's totally up to you if you want to do that. I really like to have things kind of mapped out a little bit, and that really helps me stay focused. So once you've kind of got that content planned out, it's time to start creating it. And step 2, we're going to look at how we start to actually make this a reality and actually make our content. And there's a couple of different ways you can approach this. The way that I used to do it in the past was I wrote a blog post in its entirety, and then I used that as almost like a script for the videos that I was going to record. Now the way that I do it is that I write some notes and then I record the video using my notes. I'm quite confident speaking off just very rough notes, and then I turn the transcript from the video into a blog post. So there's 2 different ways you can approach it in step 2. You can either write the entire blog post to start off with, and I tend to think that if you are just getting started with this kind of content creation, that's a really good way to go. So you can start off by doing that, and then maybe as you get further down the road, as you get a bit more practiced at it, you can start just creating very rough notes and then recording your videos on the back of that. So that's the first stage, is to either write your blog post or create some notes. And then in step 3, we're going to record a video. Now, this video is going to be for YouTube. We might repurpose it in different ways, which we'll look at the end. YouTube is just a great place to be right now. I keep seeing more and more things that is reminding me what a good place it is to be if you are running a business. So, absolutely worth the time investing in getting this process right. So you're going to record your video. I do this with a really, really simple setup. I'm just in my office at home. I have a Blue Yeti mic. I use my phone with QuickTime on my laptop and I record into it. It's nothing particularly flash. I don't have any fancy cameras. The most fancy thing that I have is my microphone, and I have a little ring light that just kind of supplements some of the natural light coming through the window, and that is it. Really, really simple. So you're going to record your video either based on your notes, or you're going to use your blog post almost like a script. This often takes a bit of practice to get comfortable with if you're not used to videos. If you want to have a laugh, do go and check out some of my really, really early videos, because you will see that how you come across on video, how natural it feels, it absolutely gets easier in time. You have to kind of be willing to be a bit shit at the beginning to actually get to the point where you get better. So don't be afraid to get started for the fear of not doing it right, because you have to go through that process to improve. In this video that we're creating, we'll probably want it to be around about 10 to 20 minutes. We don't want it to be too long. Some of my videos are a bit longer than that, depending on the topic that I'm sharing, but generally speaking, a good amount of time is about 10 to 20 minutes. Now, this makes it easier for you to edit, and it also makes it easier for people to actually digest and take in the information that you're sharing. So I find in my work that about 10 to 20 minutes is the sweet spot. But again, you might occasionally have videos that go a bit over or a bit under, and that's fine too. Step 4 is to edit the video and pull off the audio for your podcast. I use a program called Descript for this. I absolutely love Descript. I discovered it recently. It is just such a wonderful tool for editing your video and your audio. It works really, really well. Go and check out Descript. Basically, I just drop the file into Descript. It transcribes it so I can edit the actual transcription. And then I tidy that up. You can add an intro and an outro if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to complicate it that much at the start. Sometimes the simplest way to get started is just to do it and not worry about that. So you can absolutely just start off with no intro or outro, no music or anything like that. Just make it really simple. But edit the video, pull off the audio. Again, Descript makes it really simple to do that. You can just pull off the audio as an audio file, and that's your podcast already. And then you've got your video ready for YouTube. Step 5 is to finalise the blog post. So if you didn't write the blog post in its entirety for step 2, then this is the stage where you might want to finalise that. What I use with Descript is I use the inbuilt AI tool in Descript to help me formulate the blog post. Usually I do a lot of editing to that. It's very, very rare that I just leave what the AI comes up with. I usually edit it quite a lot, going back to my notes, looking at what I've actually said, because usually I don't get the best results from that, but it kind of gets me started. And sometimes, my process now feels a lot quicker, recording the video based on notes and then finalising the blog post after. I find that an easier process, but again, depending on which, where you're doing it, it's totally fine. So finalise the blog post, get that all ready as well, and then you should have a video file that is edited, an audio file that is edited, and a written blog post that is all ready to go. Another thing that you can do at this stage is you can write a description that is going to accompany the YouTube video and the podcast. I have a template that I use every single week that I just tweak, and that forms the basis of the description for both the video on YouTube and the podcast as well. Step 6 is to schedule and publish your content. So this is where you would upload your video to YouTube, upload your podcast to your podcast host and schedule it, and upload your blog post to your website. I also embed the YouTube video and the audio player in the blog post on the website as well. It's up to you if you want to do that, if you want to keep them completely separate. So it would be uploading all of those to the different platforms and just scheduling them for ready to go. I schedule everything to go out at around about the same time, and I use my VA, my wonderful VA Gem, to help me do that scheduling. She takes that off my hands, which is amazing. But the scheduling process isn't that tricky, to be honest. You just literally uploading the files, putting in the description, and telling YouTube or the podcast host when things are going to go live. And again, the same on your website, and getting that all put up. And then step 7 is to promote and share the content that you've just created. So once it goes live, it's time for you to share that in different places. And this is where, if you do have social media, it can be good to share it. You might want to share it with people on your email list. You might also want to share it in different places, like in Facebook groups and things like that. So share and promote that piece of content as far as you can. There's also often a sequence of things that you can do, particularly with YouTube, that I find useful in terms of helping that video be seen. So there's some optimization that you can do. To be fair, I think on the end of most of those pieces of content that will help them be seen. And it does come down to promoting, sharing, things like commenting, all sorts of different things that you can do that will help that content get seen, because creating the content is only one part of the equation. There's also what you need to do to make sure that people are seeing that content, and that comes into the promotion and sharing of the content as well. Another thing that you can do in step 7 is you can share your content to Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is another search-based platform where it's generally based on people searching for certain things and then certain bits of content coming up. And your blog and Pinterest, I always say blogging and Pinterest go together like best friends. If you have a blog, it's almost a no-brainer not to share stuff to Pinterest. Now, Pinterest, like a lot of other platforms, does have video elements on there as well. And we're going to talk a bit about repurposing the video side of things in a second. But for your blog post, it really makes sense to create a pin, which is basically an image that shows up on Pinterest, and link that back to your blog post and have that all shared on Pinterest. That's something I cover in one of our programs, Pinterest Magic, which you can check out. I'll put the link. But that's a whole other thing that you can do that will help, again, get more eyes on that content that you've created. And then finally, in step 8, we have the opportunity to repurpose this content if we wish. And this is particularly where it comes in handy for social media. The brilliant thing about creating long form video is you can chop that up and you can create shorter videos, which you can then share on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts as well, potentially. This is something I am finally layering into my process, is starting to pull out some of these shorter videos. Again, this can help with promotion of the original piece of content, but you can also use it as individual pieces of content as it is. It doesn't just have to be video either. You can pull snippets of information from your blog posts and share them as Instagram posts or share them on Facebook. There's all sorts of different things that you can do once you've created this long form content. And again, just a reminder about why this is awesome. Longer form content, which is searchable, the results of that, they accumulate over time. They don't depreciate over time. So you will get more views on your videos, more listens of your podcast, more people looking at your blog posts over time. Unlike a lot of social media where the views will go down over time, you'll get like a peak and then it will go down. With this method, you will get more and more views over time. So that's another really important reason why this is awesome. Also, you have slightly more control over what is going on. Obviously, with YouTube, with podcasting and with blogging to a certain extent, we're still relying on Google, we're still relying on YouTube, we're still relying on the podcast platforms. There is stuff out of our control, but often the linkages that you can make between long form content and joining your email list is a lot more seamless than it is on social media. So actually capturing the people who are engaging with your content online is a little bit easier than it is on social media. Again, creating this kind of content really helps people get to know you. I really hope that you guys feel that you know me now after 160 episodes, I think, of the show that we are now, and have got a sense of who I am and what you would get out of working with me potentially. So it has all these amazing benefits. If you want all of the instructions on how to do this, because there's a lot of stuff in this, there is a lot of parts of the process that you might need help in understanding, particularly if you're not massively tech savvy. I have an entire course that covers this. I'll put the link below for you to check that out. And again, it's included in Wholehearted Business, which this kind of method is something that we teach as a core thing in Wholehearted Business. And again, there's various different versions of this. You don't necessarily have to have the video element. You can just start off with a podcast and the blog. You can do video and no podcast. There's different versions of this, but the benefits are really they're really strong in terms of this method of organic content marketing. Again, there's other things that I can say about marketing in terms of what else you might need to do alongside this, but this is a foundation for your business in terms of marketing, can work really wonderfully well. Another reminder, do go and download the 4-hour marketing workflow workbook. That will give you all the information on this that you can take away. And again, if you want all of the actual instructions and support to do this, then do check out the course that I have available and come and join Wholehearted Business, because we cover all of that in that as well. Okay guys, I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.